man. That little PNM panty man, Randall Mitchell. You're in panty business. You want to talk people panty business. Keith Rowley. Keith Rowley is a caca-hole. Say it after me. Keith Rowley. Keith Christopher Mugabe Sabka caca-hole Rowley. And Stuart Young, that next caca-hole. You jackass. Stuart Young. You play stupid for spite, you know. You're an idiot. I know. You just turn off the TV when John Jeremy debated, because Asher does be watching. Gary Griffith playing Mr. Best Crime Fighter is a shithole. He's the only ass. The whole army just laugh at him. Captain, don't leave the army. You have to have a higher rank to say you was you're stuck and you're lost. You shit snake. You shithole. I want to cuss. I want to cuss everybody. Kids. 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids. You don't want me to reach 4 kids. My son and I follow. That is our business. And, well, I mean, his way of punishing me was changing his name to his mother name. I take that lash. You're a senator now, bro. Watch the language, please. Get off my wall. Run away. Go by your mommy. All them little small toti Syrian. All them little small toti Syrian. The toti small so. Dirty my name. I go pull all you down. I go set the whole thing on fire. All you forget how much bodies I help all you bury. All you forget how much drunk video Jerry Hadid called me. Oh God, Philip, she drunk and she's singing, boy. What you could do? You could pull it from the media. Use your contacts now, Phil. Help we out here now, boy. She drunk and singing, boy. All you
Why don't Afro-Caribbeans and Indo-Caribbeans get along? Your grandparents will tell you it's always been that way. It hasn't. The British engineered it. Here's how. After slavery ended in 1838, freed Africans left the plantations. They built villages, started businesses, gained economic power. The British panicked, so they brought in Indian indentured laborers and told each group lies about the other. They told Africans the Indians were stealing their jobs, undercutting their wages. They told Indians the Africans were lazy, dangerous, uncivilized. They paid Indians slightly more, just enough to create resentment. They gave Indians different housing, separate schools, different religious freedoms, all designed to prevent unity. Because if Afro and Indo-Caribbeans united, they could overthrow colonial rule. The British had seen it before. The Indian Mutiny, the Morant Bay Rebellion. They knew mixed-race uprisings were their biggest threat, so they made sure you'd never trust each other. They gave you just enough difference to fight over. And it worked. Your family stopped seeing each other as fellow victims and started seeing each other as competition. That tension you feel today, that's not natural. That's colonial programming. Drop a fire emoji if this just clicked for you. Follow for the receipts they don't want you to see.
In the paper is what has been described as shockingly crass by the Express. The response from Kamala Prasad-Bissessa in the UNC's usual Monday night stupidness, the Monday Night Forum. Never has there been a better name for an event, the Monday Night Forum for the UNC. But in her reference to eater food lawyers and so on, and the reference to the names and so, I don't know why the Express sees it as shockingly crass. Because this is a woman who stood up in Parliament and said she could not support the Caribbean Court of Justice because it had no Indians. So what she said Monday is par for the course. You know what we should do? And, put a big wall around the former Prime Minister's estate. In fact, make it even wider. Call it Indish. Because at one time there were these activists. They want to declare a separate state in the combination of India and Bangladesh. Indish. Call that place Indish. Let all the fanatics go in there. Give them a few acres and things. Have the Queen of the Philippines as their ruler, and they'll be happy and leave the rest of it. Let me cope with whatever we have left.
All them little small toti Syrian. All them little small Toti Syrian, the Toti small so. I want them Randall Mitchell, that little panty man, that little PNM panty man Randall Mitchell, eh? You're in panty business? You want to talk people panty business? Keith Rowley. Keith Rowley is a caca-hole. Say it after me. Keith Rowley. Keith Christopher Mugabe Sabka caca-hole Rowley. And Stuart Young, that next caca-hole. You jackass. Stuart Young. You ain't play stupid for spite, you know. You're an idiot. I know. You just turn off the TV when John Jeremy debated because Asher does be watching. Gary Griffith playing Mr. Best Crime Fighter is a shithole. He's the only ass. The whole army just laugh at him. Captain, don't leave the army. You have to have a higher rank to say you was you're stuck and you lost. You shit snake. You shithole. I want to cuss. I want to cuss everybody. Kids. 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids. You don't want me to reach 4 kids. My son and I follow, that is our business, and, well, I mean, his way of punishing me was changing his name to his mother name. I take that lash. You're a senator now, bro, watch the language, please. Get off my wall. Run away. Go by your mommy. All them little small Toti Syrian. All them little small Toti Syrian, the Toti small so. Dirty my name. I go pull all you down. I go set the whole thing on fire. All you forget how much bodies I help all you bury. All you forget how much drunk video Jerry Hadid called me. Oh God, Philip, she drunk and she's singing, boy. What you could do? You could pull it from the media. Use your contacts now, Phil. Help we out here now, boy. She drunk and singing, boy. All you
Why don't Afro-Caribbeans and Indo-Caribbeans get along? Your grandparents will tell you it's always been that way. It hasn't. The British engineered it. Here's how. After slavery ended in 1838, freed Africans left the plantations. They built villages, started businesses, gained economic power. The British panicked, so they brought in Indian indentured laborers and told each group lies about the other. They told Africans the Indians were stealing their jobs, undercutting their wages. They told Indians the Africans were lazy, dangerous, uncivilized. They paid Indians slightly more, just enough to create resentment. They gave Indians different housing, separate schools, different religious freedoms, all designed to prevent unity. Because if Afro and Indo-Caribbeans united, they could overthrow colonial rule. The British had seen it before. The Indian Mutiny, the Morant Bay Rebellion. They knew mixed-race uprisings were their biggest threat, so they made sure you'd never trust each other. They gave you just enough difference to fight over. And it worked. Your families stopped seeing each other as fellow victims and started seeing each other as competition. That tension you feel today, that's not natural. That's colonial programming. Drop a fire emoji if this just clicked for you. Follow for the receipts they don't want you to see.
In the paper is what has been described as shockingly crass by the Express. The response from Kamala Prasad-Bissessar in the UNC's usual Monday night stupidness, the Monday night forum. Never has there been a better name for an event, the Monday night forum for the UNC. But in her reference to eater food lawyers and so on, and the reference to the names and so, I don't know why the Express sees it as shockingly crass. Because this is a woman who stood up in Parliament and said she could not support the Caribbean Court of Justice because it had no Indians. So what she said Monday is par for the course. You know what we should do? And, put a big wall around the former Prime Minister's estate. In fact, make it even wider. Call it Indish. Because at one time, there were these activists. They want to declare a separate state. India, combination of India and Bangladesh. Indish. Call that place Indish. Let all the fanatics go in there. Give them a few acres and things. Have the Queen of the Philippines as their ruler. And they'll be happy. And leave the rest of it. Let me cope with whatever we have left.
All them little small Toti Syrian. All them little small Toti Syrian. The Toti small so. I want them Randall Mitchell. That little panty man. That little PNM panty man Randall Mitchell. You're in panty business. You want to talk people panty business. Keith Rowley. Keith Rowley is a caca-hole. Say it after me. Keith Rowley. Keith Christopher Mugabe Sabka caca-hole Rowley. And Stuart Young, that next caca-hole. You jackass. Stuart Young. You play stupid for spite, you know. You're an idiot. I know. Just turn off the TV when John Jeremy debated because Asher does be watching. Gary Griffith playing Mr. Best Crime Fighter is a shithole. He's the only ass. The whole army just laugh at him. Captain, don't leave the...
Tap the screen or let's share the live. Share the live. Let me share the live. It now reach 37. Let me wait until it reach about 50 and then we go start. Wow. So Trinidad and Tobago. I hope the rest will join on. They just had to go up on TikTok and click on the zero icon and they will find me because this is another phone I'm using. So we have a depressing topic here tonight, Trinidad and Tobago. Everybody here on TikTok and on YouTube. Welcome to the Let Your Voice Be Heard program here tonight. And this platform is strictly law and order, right? This platform is where you come and you give your opinion, you let your voice be heard, right? And on these pressing, stressful issues that we, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, is facing, that the government is trying to paint a picture that everything is okay and hunky-dory, right? So today I was scrolling through TikTok and then I saw where someone was talking about the Dragon gas deal. So here they said, this one is a real nightmare for us, you know. The entire balance of the Caribbean has just flipped overnight. Imagine that. It flipped overnight. For decades, Trinidad and Tobago has been the undisputed champion of Caribbean energy. A massive billion-dollar geopolitical chess has playing out. And Trinidad and Tobago is being totally sidelined, bypassed. The golden ticket has been handed over to Barbados. Why is that, Trinidad and Tobago? Why all they think is that? What all they think is the cause of that? So Delcia Rodriguez bypassed Trinidad and Tobago and is now doing business with Barbados and Grenada. So where does that leave Trinidad and Tobago? I want to hear all your honest opinion on that. I want to hear what also all your thoughts on that. Let me bring up my soldiers and them because I'm opening up the box early tonight. I'm opening up the box early tonight. So that I could hear all your opinion on that. I want to hear all your opinion on that. Because if we close to Venezuela right there, arm's length, but how much minutes away? Was it about 10, 15, 20 minutes away from Venezuela is from Trinidad? And Delcy Rodriguez, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, bypass we and decide to hand over the deals and everything to Barbados and Grenada. Where does that leave Trinidad and Tobago?
Good night to you, warrior.
Good night.
How are you, my dear?
Well, boy, when I hear what's going on with Venezuela, the deals that Venezuela decide to do with Barbados and Guyana, Grenada, sorry, and forget we, that's showing some concern, you know.
Warrior princess, that surprised you?
It has surprised me, but I telling myself, well, you know, that they might say, well, all right, you know, they have a change of heart, but they have no change of heart.
Nobody want to do business with this UNC government. Nobody. This is the same government. This is the same UNC people that went against Venezuela. You could remember that?
Yes.
So this will surprise me. I bet if we should change this government, Venezuela will want a part of Trinidad. Will want to do business with us.
So when the past Prime Minister, Maduro, would have said he does not recognize Kamala as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, that he speaks clearly. That sends a message, you know. And yet still I hear Trinidad, the Prime Minister saying she's going across there to make deals with them. How that happening?
She's good night, princess. Good night to the panel. Good night to everybody. We are a stone throw from Venezuela, right? If you go to Toco, you could see clothes hanging up in Venezuela. The president of Venezuela take a plane and leave and go on Barbados to hold energy talk.
Yeah.
That is just to show you Venezuela don't want nothing to do with Trinidad and Tobago and this UNC government. Do you understand? It's a whole shift in energy power. Trinidad is no longer holding the Trump card. Because why? Kamala side with Trump and gone against Venezuela to allow the United States to go in there to take Maduro. That is why they don't want to do business with Trinidad and Tobago. You understand? And it's sad to say, but it's dark days ahead for Trinidad and Tobago. Because without energy, without oil and gas, Trinidad, we don't have no other source of income coming in, you know. You understand? We don't have no other source of income. So what is the plan for Trinidad and Tobago? What is the plan? Because I hear Kamala come up the other and say big and broad, better days ahead for Trinidad and Tobago, but it's not looking so. It's not looking so at all. It's looking like darker days ahead. Because she says she requests for a delegation to go across to Venezuela to have energy talk, and up to now, Venezuela haven't accepted that request.
No.
They haven't accepted that request.
The people don't want to have nothing to do with we. Nothing, you know.
And just showing you, they accept Stuart Young to come over there and meet with the president to have a discussion about what, because we don't know what he went over there to speak to her about. It could be on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago. It could be on holding relations. You understand? We don't know what he went over there to speak about, but that's just showing you The government of Venezuela don't want nothing to do with Kamala Persad-Bissessar and her government.
Nothing.
And they're saying that how the PNM is dead, but how they're still meeting with the PNM government.
Exactly.
If the PNM is dead and gone, how they're still meeting with the PNM government?
And here what they try to do, when they take out the picture with Delcy Rodriguez and Stuart Young, they're trying to say that is AI. I don't know why these people are doing that. I even see Miss Jackson come up and say that look like AI, but I had confirmation. I make sure I call because I don't like to put my foot in my mouth. I asked the question. I say, that picture I seen there, was it truth? They told me, yes, Mr. Stuart Young went to meet with Miss Delcy Rodriguez and discuss certain things. They didn't go into details with me. I said, okay, that was my confirmation. I hear it from
Trump is only president for 4 years. After, if he don't get re-elected for another 4 years, what is Trinidad and Tobago do? Because the people, just like how Trinidad and Tobago is fed up at Kamala Persad-Bissessar, just so the American people is fed up at Trump. And after Trump will serve 3 years there, he had 1 more year. The new president who coming in there, you feel he going to take up Trump policies?
No. Because
So
nobody
what-
don't want to walk. Nobody don't want to be in their bed sleeping and here in the place bombing up.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that is why when Rowley was in power and I asked Rowley about that, Rowley said, I am staying neutral. I want no part. I am taking no part. But Kamala Persad-Bissessar jump up and go and dive head in first. You understand? A small Caribbean country like this, you go on and want to rub shoulders with Donald Trump and to say, well, I was there and I using himself a superpower. How could you rub shoulders and saying that how you on the front lines with the United States? You stupid. That's stupid talk. This country, we have, if this UNC government lasts for another 4 years, we have a lot of dark days ahead.
Oh God,
Dark
what's my
and grim days ahead.
Tata, from the time I get that piece of information today, I ain't lying. My head fucked me.
And I feel the only person who could bring back Trinidad and Tobago is Miss Penelope Beckles, and the PNM could only bring back Trinidad and Tobago. You understand? Because as bad as it was when Rowley was there, people haven't lost their work.
No.
The drug and gas deal was going through. You understand? And I feel if PNM was still in power there, Miss Rodriguez would have come to Trinidad instead of Barbados and Grenada. She would have come to Trinidad.
They would have come to we first, because let me tell you something. When that war was when that I would say war was taking place in Venezuela, I had a friend over there and he used to converse with me. He used to show me videos and pictures. These people make all kind of dolly at Kamala. And they beat them dolly like first time. And they blame Trinidad for siding with the US, aiding and abetting and coming and kidnapping the Prime Minister, you know.
Yes, but when they take Maduro,
Go ahead.
when they take Maduro, they land them in Piaco Airport, and then after they take off from there to the United States.
Oh, Jesus. So, you know what? We is accomplice. So they may go want to do no business with me. We better forget
Maduro.
that. As long as the UNC is in power, we need to forget that dragon gas.
From Venezuela, Maduro touched down in Piaco, and then after he take our American flight straight to the United States. So we play a big part in capturing Maduro. Look, she put up a radar talking about that is a thing, drugs and all kind of thing. And as they capture Maduro, they take down the radar and they go on their way.
Yeah. If people notice. And I am sure, Chatter, if a war did break out, let me say Venezuela decided to fight back, you know, we will get a Tutsi bombing we are here too. They would have softened we know because we aid and abet, we help our country, help. And Peter would have paid for Paul, and Paul would have paid for all. And we don't even have Watch now, listen to me. Since this evening, I get a headache, you know. So where does that leave us, Trinidad and Tobago? People in the comment section, I would like to hear all your opinion. People on YouTube as well, I would like to hear all your opinion on this topic. So chatter, let me start from the person above you, Mr. Hayden. Pleasant good night. I would like you to give your contribution and be very mindful that there is somebody after you would like to also like to give their contribution.
Good night, Miss Warrior Princess. Good night to the panel. Good night to everyone. Now, first to begin with, we have to be mindful of what we say.
Yes,
whether
we
as
have.
human beings, as politicians, as individuals. When you go to, remember, we are a country that are close to Venezuela. When you make statements like kill them all, get rid of them, all this kind of old talk, you remember you're inciting another country. You're inciting violence upon another country. When you do this now, how you expect to go to the people and talk about drag and deal? That don't make sense.
No.
You see, that's why I say, a man once said, a wise person knows what to say, when to say.
Yep.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
So let me see who's the other person. Hold on there. We have Mr. Michael. Mr. Michael, you would like to give another contribution?
No, let somebody who didn't speak, let us speak. I'll come back in.
Right. Okay, Mr. Michael. Mr. Paul, pleasant good night and welcome. When all you come up in the box, please stay close to your phone, otherwise you'll be bypassed. All right. So, Mr. Megatron, you come up and give your contribution. Going once, going twice. All right. So, Mr. Barefoot, can you come up and give your contribution?
Good night, everyone. Good night to the panel. Good night to those on the live. So I just went back and I just replayed what was discussed at the meeting in Barbados there, where the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mia Mottley, was speaking about the agreements between Barbados and Venezuela. And one of the things that she said is that though the energy company that they have there in Barbados is so small, is very small, they are now poised to start to basically become more resilient. And of course, she's choosing her words well. What it means is that the dominance that we as Trinidad and Tobago played in the region, notwithstanding Guyana, in a particular place now, it means that we are losing our dominance in the region. And I've never supported the UNC. And even though I'm a supporter of the other entity, it is very, very saddening for me to know that, we may go back after this 5-year period, in the next 4 years, we may not have this government in place anymore. However, the damage that is being done to Trinidad and Tobago currently, it may be unreversible. And I'm not sure if persons are understanding how dangerous that is for us. The former Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, would have said, if we took God out of our thoughts and elected the UNC, exactly what is happening to us now is what was going to happen. And he used a colloquial term, we cuckoo cook.
Yeah.
I am, after seeing what has happened where Delcy Rodriguez has visited Barbados, where she has visited Grenada, and I'm certain that long before Trinidad and Tobago gets an audience with her, she will visit other CARICOM nations and so on. And that is to send a strong signal. We cuckoo cook. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. So, Mr. Megatron?
Yeah, good night, Princess. Good night,
Because
everybody on the panel.
I
Good
was,
night,
I
Trinidad and
was calling you
Tobago.
up. I was calling you up there, boy, and only make sure and say good night to the YouTube people. Please
Yeah,
come
and
your way.
good night to the wider YouTube. As attending to a little matter, here, so I apologize. So I want to
Night.
make it short and quick.
Yes.
So pertaining to the Dragon gas deal that has gone dead because they try to make all kind of connections with that. When the United States of America went into Venezuela, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago made some comments that wasn't really too nice because she didn't care. Like she did move like she didn't care about making a deal with them with the gas and whatnot. It is unfortunate to see that the leader of the Venezuelan presidential right now going all over in other Caribbean countries and not coming here to Trinidad because, for a matter of fact, Kamala can't really go into Trinidad. So that is one of the main concerns right now. But that's real unsettling. It's unsettling. It's sad to see how we as a country could have, mend the ties with the Venezuelan president right now at this time. And I don't think that in the near future we go have any dealings with them because of the fact that what's happening. Because since the United States of America step in, it's come like we cut sovereign ties with Venezuela right now. So I'm watching to see what is going to happen. But I don't think that lady want to have any agreement right now with the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. That's just my contribution.
And Megatron, you're right. Not your door thing. These people don't want to have nothing to do with me. According to Chatter, Paul, mute your mic, darling. Hold on a bit. According to Chatter, we is a stone throw away from them people like they see where she gone. Barbados. To meet with the Barbados Prime Minister. And she gone Grenada. So that clearly shows, hey, all they had a sock salt. And according to this gentleman here, Didi, Kamala fighting with all the Caribbean countries as well. Pleasant good night, Trinity. You understand? She fighting with the whole of CARICOM. 1 minute she but I don't know if she must figure by giving the Venezuelans and them citizenship in Trinidad. That might amend back some kind of deal with them, but they don't care about that. All your aid and abets in bringing harm and destruction to the people country by taking the Prime Minister Maduro and going with him. And now all they want to play like all they forget that and play like all they don't know, like all they, I don't know, but they may put people before party now. I understand now. And all that for what? All that for what?
She's the only news tonight. She's the only news tonight. She ain't studying with the situation in Barbados, but she still have a good relationship with them in Venezuela. But she ain't studying with them doing it.
She don't. Alzheimer's stepping in or something. These people do not want to have absolutely nothing to do with us.
Yeah, she said that on the news tonight. I hear that. She said she ain't thing where she doing in Barbados.
So then why she bypass us and we right here? A stone throw away.
Why she meet with Stuart Young before the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah, because they tried to spread a propaganda saying that was AI, but Stuart Young really did meet with her.
Why she meet with Stuart Young instead of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago? That is just to show you they don't want nothing to do with Kamala Bissassa. They don't want nothing to do with her. Wow. Kamala healed Trinidad just like what Mr. Barefoot said. There is no coming back for Trinidad. The damage what this UNC government is doing to Trinidad and Tobago, it might take another 40 or 50 years to repair this damage. What the UNC is doing to this Trinidad.
Oh God, don't rub it in. Don't rub it in.
You understand?
Yeah.
And people still jumping up and balling. It's only 1 year and give her time, and the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall with sufferation. I watching it tonight, Princess. It have a man with his family shack up outside Mount Hope on the lawn, and outside there with the family because you have nowhere to live. And it have a lot more that coming.
Yeah.
It have a lot more that coming. It have people wouldn't be able to pay their bills. It have people would look what going on. This woman, I don't know what the UNC is doing to this country. And Rowley really say, if that dragon gas ever fall through, crappo smoke we pipe, you know. That is the same words he used. He said crappo smoke we pipe. And we coming to see it.
And that person is Dr. Keith Rowley, not Rowley.
Dr. Rowley.
Let me put hand the T name.
But not only that
former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Not only that warrior. Let me tell you something. All you feel is only Kamala. All you feel is only Kamala. Remember Munilal went to tongue on Delcy, you know.
Yeah,
and
boy.
Munilal is the energy minister now.
Woo-wee, Papa.
All you could remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, that Munilal went to tongue on Delcy. When there was an opposition, they went to tongue on Delcy. Now they're in government. And who is the president of Venezuela? Who is the president there?
Delcy Rodriguez, yeah.
Oh, all they put one and one together and see how much all they get.
and they're busy keeping big celebration, according to Carol Love. Big celebration. What are they celebrating, boy?
Well, she should call Donald Trump and ask Donald Trump to help her, since she played a big role in capturing Maduro. Call Donald Trump and let Donald Trump tell Rodriguez to deal with Trinidad and Tobago. That's what she should do. You don't find so?
I find that what you're supposed to do too. Honestly, I find you're supposed to lay a partner because you help out your partner, your bad man partner. Right? So your bad man partner now supposed to return the favor. Where all the thing about that? Megatron, I see your mic is on mute. Do you have a contribution?
You see, one of the problems, and I think we don't forget, if you pay attention to the things that was said when Nicolas Maduro was captured on behalf of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, where Venezuela is concerned, was utter disrespect. Don't feel the world wasn't watching and the world wasn't listening. And I say this again. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago was threatened by the U.S. government quietly. It's either choose her side or lose her side.
Yeah.
She chose her side, and now she's regretting the decision to have to see the president for Venezuela here going in other Caribbean countries and bypassing us. Because they see it as you try to want to deport all the people from the country and all. When this thing happened, you wanted to kick out nearly half of the Venezuelans staying here. Yeah, them getting locked up left, right, and center, the thing, and sending them back. Now that the dust settle and everything running a little smooth, you're looking to try to see how you can get back. You can't get back something that done damage. You damage a connection. And CARICOM, with the disrespect that they shared, even with CARICOM, I wouldn't say I don't think, nobody wants to have that kind of close ties with you right now, because you're not coming out as taking accountability for the things you're saying. You're not trying to fix it. You're trying to bully it with words. And if we continue down this road, then it's later for everything. She could have maintained her ties and stay out of that whole bacchanal with the United States and Venezuela and maintain a peaceful but sovereign conversation with Venezuela. Even so, if I would swing, still maintain that respect. I tell you, at times I hear the Prime Minister say certain things on TV. I was like, what? And you go need these people, and them later, sooner or later, so said, so done, you need these people.
Yeah, man. Megatron, that is the same thing where Dr. Keith Rowley said. He get threatened too. And he said, I am staying neutral. I am not taking no sides. I'm staying neutral. But she jumped on Donald Trump's side, thinking, well, when the dust clear, she will get the biggest piece of the cake. And you end up with nothing.
Nothing.
You end up with nothing. Look at the position you have us in right now. We're Barbados and Grenada is in front of Trinidad and Tobago. You understand? So we become a laughing stock of the Caribbean right now. Kamala Persad make Trinidad the laughing stock of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
You
When we
understand?
was the small Dubai, the little Dubai, the land of milk and honey. Now it's starvation.
Trinidad and Tobago was the dominant. Trinidad and Tobago was dominating the Caribbean, and right now we dominating what? Nothing.
Nothing. Mr. Hayden, you would like to give a contribution? Go
Warrior
ahead.
Princess,
Yes, dear.
I would like to ask her a question. If you buy a plate, listen carefully. If you buy a plate and the plate falls and breaks, can you fix it back to the original state it was?
No, that cannot be meant.
Same thing with the gas dragon deal.
Not even if you use crazy glue. That is to throw away. And I believe this government, they went too far. According to what Chatter would have said, when Rowley talked about he wants to remain neutral, she should have remained neutral too.
A few minutes. I had to deal with a situation. I'll come back in a little bit.
All right. Just remember the time we're cutting off, Edudu.
Okay, I'll try my best to come back in before.
Right. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Hayden.
Remaining neutral have its benefits. It might look like a disadvantage, but it's not a disadvantage. It have its benefits. You remaining neutral is not saying no, and you're not saying yes.
Exactly. No, we up
everybody could.
No, we up a Google.
everybody-
No, we up a Google Beth tree. No, we up a Google Beth tree. How we coming down from that? And they're not telling the people nothing. You know, thank God for the social media. Thank God that people is aware of what's taking place. But I want to see how they're handling that.
Another thing, a good businessman always have a good head on his shoulders. You ever heard that saying?
Yeah. Trinity monitor the chatter. Please and thanks.
So when we go into things as like diplomacy and knowing how to deal with certain countries, you must have a good head on your shoulders, otherwise it wouldn't go through.
Exactly.
Princess, you know what coming for Trinidad and Tobago in the next 4 years?
Boy, I don't know. I try not to even mind around.
More taxes, because they have loans they have to pay. What they take from the foreigners and them out there, they have loans they have to pay. They have to pay their salaries. They have to pay the social workers and them. So it's we, the taxpayers, who don't have nothing, will have to pay the brunt for Kamala's stability.
Yeah, but Chatter, how are we going to pay all these taxes when people are even working? She jump up and she says, since the government come in power, they would have provided 15,000 jobs for the citizens.
Where?
I ain't anybody from on my side yesterday get no job, no work.
You bring out something resembling CPEP, where people have to work with their own tools
And
to
not
do the
only
government job.
And Chatter, not only that, stick up in, and on top of that, greeting Glenroyd, and on top of that, you had to work a whole month and a half before you could get paid. So after being home for a whole year, suffering and struggling and living by the grace of God, you had to work for a month and a half. You ain't too sure to get the pay. Some get whole pay, some get half pay, and some say they tell some hold on. But
you have been home for a year. You have nothing. You're going out there because you want the money. You understand? Yeah. There are people going out there hungry, Princess. There are people going out there, all they have is a bottle of water.
But
Are you telling people that they wait a month and a half to get a salary? Why Kamala and them, when them now come in power, why them didn't wait a month and a half to get a salary? Why Kamala don't take a pay cut with she ministers and them? Why they don't take a pay cut? You're $84,000 a month. Why you don't take a pay cut? Why you don't say, well, all right, the country in our state right now, I'll take $15,000 a month as my salary, because all you don't need that salary. All you have everything handed to all the perks, all the boy. Kamala and them is wicked and evil. Their salary on time every month, you know.
Of course.
Every month their salary on time, you know.
And not just the salary, remember they have perks, free living accommodation, allowances. Them must be exempted from buying groceries, them exempted from paying bills, putting gas in their vehicle, them exempted from all these things, you know. We had to fend. And on top of it, what we
driving.
Right? And on top of it, what we have, we don't have nothing. People, watch now. I went down the road this evening, I ain't lying. And the place flooded with young people just liming on the streets. And I decided I was going to one particular place and get an item and just head back up the road. I said, no, let me take a walk through Grandy. And I didn't walk with my phone. I left my phone home. I put out my phone and videotape. And watch me, every corner, according to the old people, kiddie boy, young man, kiddie young girl, everybody just liming by the corner. Every corner you pass, they just liming and they like Alice in Wonderland.
Princess, just now we will have to start to migrate. We will have to start to migrate from this country called Trinidad and Tobago, because we won't be able to mind our family. We will have to jump on boat and things. You see, like how them Venezuelans was coming over here. We will have to start to do that just. And you see how Barbados and Grenada are coming, going and take over that energy. We might have to migrate to there.
Well, boy, I have a little bit of family in Barbados. And I hear my father say I have family in Grenada. But you know, living by family don't be easy, eh? But I tell you, I ain't lying. I don't know what is Kamala them plan going forward. I anticipate their plans going forward, because I ain't seen nothing happening positive for the people, you know.
Could I interject and say something? So
yes, Mr. Megatron, go ahead.
We are failing economy-wise. The economy is on a decline. If this deal had went through with Venezuela, the refinery would have been able to open. Because of that failed communication between the now Prime Minister and the now President of Venezuela, we are stuck in a situation where we cannot really look to anything elsewhere, because even overseas, there is issues between Israel, Iran, and the United States, which is another problem with even jet fuel. There is going to be a rise in costs with airfare and all these other things that are happening because there's a shortage of jet fuel. We are not making the right decisions on behalf of the country. We are not making right decisions on behalf of benefiting the people. Today I have seen 51 brand new fleets of police-issued vehicles on the road. That is millions of taxpayers' money that going down the drain again. And this is what I am saying. Every minister has a tax exemption, as Chacha was saying. Airfare, they have a gas card, because I know somebody who's a normal supervisor and they don't pay for gas. They have a card that is given them to use at a certain limit every month. All right? So when we check out how much things happening in the country, I just wish the Prime Minister make better choices and not try to damage what already has been damaged. That whole issue between Venezuela and Trinidad had a right to mend. People had a right to have situations where they could have sit down and talk and bring some kind of mediation and still keep a collective agreement. Nothing is going to happen here. We have nothing that's happening next year, the year after that, and the year after that. All I see is hardship and more blood staying in the place. That's all I see. I'm not seeing anything getting better. And I'm feeling sorry for the people and them who trying to fix their life. And every time they fix their life, it's falling apart even more and more and more. People in debt. People have no jobs. People can't sustain an income to even mind their families. people frustrated, angry, exhausted, and mad. And this country, one day soon, is going to explode and take care we end up like Haiti because the
God.
people are fed up. Well, yeah, princess, I am telling you, the people fed up.
Mr.
What?
Glenroy?
Where do we turn again? That's it. Good
Well,
night.
yeah.
Greetings. I'm going inside. I'm back. Greetings to everyone. Megatron and everyone on the panel. Well, I didn't have much to say tonight because I gave a good dose earlier on today on Kitty Live just before, after you left.
Yeah.
So I'll just add a little portion to guide the people. Right? We with all the mess that is taking place right now in the country. It is like Megatron was there today when I was speaking. It is very clear that because of the ambiguity of the divide between the people, to collectively come together and look at the situation for what it is and make a collective decision that we're going to go this route to get the government's attention, and where it will make headline news worldwide, that will not be achieved. So now we look at what is the next step to combat what is coming. Forget what is going on, because what is going on now will continue. It's been a year and 4 months, the month going and finish. So that has been established. Step 2 is making sure your fridge and your deep freeze is properly stocked with your basic food. You know, your fish or your chicken, your pork, whatever you eat. But make sure you have adequate to sustain you. Because all that will matter in an economic crash is sustainability when it comes to food. Money wouldn't be the factor. We saw what happened in 2021. Everybody was broken and desperate. Okay? Because when the place closed, you can't spend your money. When the banks close their doors, nobody can spend money. So food will be the ultimate goal. You ain't have no time to talk about remove this one and who will fire this one. Nah. That the time for that passed away because we divided. We had to accept the fact for what it is. But the people on the ground who don't have right now, the unemployed, and those who could barely see the sun come out, we have to keep in mind, we keep a little for them, food-wise, but make sure we have enough to sustain me, because we're facing a harsh dry season, we're facing a harsh economy, we're facing a harsh government, and everything just harsh. It's tighten your belt until your pelvis crack. You can't do that. So we have to keep something for ourselves in reserve, and that will only be food. You know what I'm saying? Food. So that is my contribution there. Yeah, in a nutshell.
Okay, thanks. Chata, you have anything else to say? All right. So let me take a read from the comments. Anybody has a want to make a contribution, feel free to come up. Right? Until such time, Mr. Hayden or Mr. Megatron, you could come up and give a contribution by the time.
And Princess, just before I allow him to go, remember I said the situation we're in is because they hit the people around the back and their head with a baseball bat and they're leaving them to bleed to death. All right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Megatron.
I just want the Prime Minister can fix it. Time to start looking elsewhere, because Venezuela wants to have nothing to really do with us. And as I say, if she had dot her I's and crossed her T's properly, that deal would have opened back the refinery in Trinidad and Tobago. We could have some kind of coalition and collaboration. There would have been a boom, because Venezuela has untouched subsidies. Things would have been happening in the best interest of the people. But because of ego and pride, this is why it is where we are now. sorry to say Trinidad and Tobago, we really need to start looking into ourselves to provide our farming distribution and have things going for us, because as Glenroy said previously before, there's going to be some serious hardship in Trinidad and Tobago. I fed up saying RIP to a lot of my friends who just ain't unalive themselves alone. But frustrations get to them so much that they didn't have a choice. They thought it was easier that way. Appealing to everybody in Trinidad and Tobago, I know things hard, but everybody, we try and help each other, because we could still help each other. Somebody could get somebody a plate of food, somebody could still do something until this government try to figure out what they really want. And as a closing in comments, Miss Warrior Princess, I'd like you to send me privately or DM me the match with Mr. Eversley, please, and when it is now. So I know, right?
I put it up on my page, you know. I think it's the 8th of next month. It's a Friday.
All right, okay. All right.
And what you need to do, you would have sent me a number already.
Yeah, I think if I send it already, I'll just confirm and send it over just in case. I'll check.
Please and thanks, right?
Warrior, you know one thing I had to say?
Yeah, Chaka.
One thing I had to say. If the Prime Minister put country first, just like what you were saying for the UNC and the PNM to come together, you know, if she pride behind and put country first and go and try to speak to the Venezuela president, you know what that could do for Trinidad and Tobago. You know what jobs that could create for Trinidad, just reopening that refinery. How much laborers could get jobs to cut grass, to clean up, because that refinery in a state, you know. You know how much thousands and thousands of people will be employed in this country if she only put her pride behind her back and say, all right, let me put country first. You understand? But it seems like nobody ain't willing to do that. They ain't willing to do that. You understand? And the country just going down and down the drain with no return. Look how much people dying, Princess. Look how much people dying. And I hear this stupid commissioner of police now saying we going back in the days where people committing crime with cutlass and knife now. What kind of stupidness is that? And the thief 127 guns. The thief 127 guns from a police station. So what they going to do with those guns and them? Play dolly house?
No,
that commissioner of police.
Them guns shatter, them guns and them done filter back out into the streets, and it end up in God alone know whose hands, and that is to create more crime, more criminal activities. Do you understand?
And I'm watching Philip Alexander. Philip Alexander driving a brand new Parado. Roger Alexander, he driving a brand new BMW. All of them buy brand new vehicles. While poor people in this country are suffering and cannot even feed their own family, Princess. You understand?
Yes.
Why them are living the best life, and Barry Pattarat could find $250,000 to hold a resort, while poor people are suffering in Trinidad and Tobago. And how much money all you spend for that 1 year thing what they had the other? How much money all you spend on that? You understand? Or you could make hampers and give out to the people and them in Trinidad, proper hampers. We ain't talking about this thing like you're making it for the sprangers, and then we talking about proper hampers and give out to the poor people in Trinidad and Tobago. This UNC government don't care about nobody. They don't care.
This is 55 guns. Then this is 65 guns. Now we hearing is 123 guns. So next week they go tell we 200. The following month they go tell we 400, and the numbers go just keep going up because the poor lady lost she life, and they put one set they pin one set of thing on the woman. The woman can't tell, she can't defend herself, you know. right?
So
They
you have
put
a
in one
strong
certain thing
room.
anyway, man.
You have a strong room with arms and ammunition, and you don't have a count of how much arms and ammunition in that strong room.
And
You
that is to
don't have
show
a
you,
count.
and that is to show you how careless they is.
Because when you're doing a handover in a police station, you have to do a handover. When you're doing a handover, you're supposed to know what you're handing over. You understand?
Exactly. And they,
Because Princess,
up to now, they don't have a fixed number. They don't. If it's a how much, if it's 100 rounds, or how much rounds, or how much guns, they don't even know. It keeps changing by the day.
Because Princess, you working in the health center, health sector, and I sure when all you're leaving, when shift changing, and all you just have to do a head count or something like that.
Well, not me. The nurses will have to do that. The nurses will have to do a handover, right? They don't do a head count, but they will do a handover and of the drugs and whatever they administer to the patient. Like they had to give a report, right? So they will know.
You must know what you have.
Yeah, you must know what the patient gets from what they ain't get and who have to do what. So and it's the same.
Because I in a police station. In a police station, they don't know how much arms and ammunition they have. First it's 69. Now it's 9. Now it's 123. Just now it might reach to 1,000 guns on the streets. You understand?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, they do have 123 officers employed at that one police station for all them arms and ammunition. I am telling you that San Fernando Municipal Police Station do not have 123 officers employed at that station per se. Nah. If they have, but not 123. So there is a need for transparency again. You see, people in charge not being direct and transparent and taking accountability, halfway answers, and that is why we in the mess where we in today as a country.
Yeah,
I could have a bet in that police station there, because they're not a police station where people go and making report and they're not dealing with the crime and thing. I could have a bet it had less than 10 police officers in that station.
Yeah, but all right. But then why has so much of guns and ammunition stored there? And they're saying that is not a police station per se, it's a different entity. Why store all them ammunitions there? That it was so easy for police itself, because in this days, I don't want the police to commit the act, warm to the cameras, weigh the cameras. They say, why? One of them would have said that they take an ambulance, block the camera. So, all right, so who is the man in the command center behind the cameras to see what's taking place on the outside? So he too was sleeping. I talking the truth. I find the TTPS, some of them are very careless. Some of them not taking their job serious at all in terms of these things. Because look how easy it was to come and murder officer, whether by strangulation, whether by stabbing, whether by shooting or strangling. You understand me? Look how easy it was. And nobody didn't find what take place until the next morning. So nobody can come downstairs and make a patrol around the building. So they could have passed and fell to bomb and blow up everybody, and everybody just dead in the street.
Yeah, but what time of the day that happened? Because
it happened in the night. I can't remember the time, but it happened in the night. And when the other officers wake up next morning, it was made mention that they saw blood coming from under the door. When they went to check, they saw the officer dead, and the guns and ammunition was missing.
So there are no officers doing compound check there. It had no officers on patrol. It had no officers doing status.
So that alone shows, according to Rasta Muffin, that alone shows that had to be an inside job, because no bad man, no gunman, no gangster ain't coming from out on the streets and coming in no police station to make this so.
It would have happened long time.
It would have happened long time.
Because when they seize them drugs, when they receive the $90 million worth of drugs, and if that would have think them bad man and them would have run in the station and get back the drugs.
Simple.
You understand? Nobody in doing that.
Listen, I'm going to say this, and people could understand, right? If Selwyn Richardson was our Attorney General back in 1995 on June the 20th was unalived, that alone tell you from where that time is to know what happened if people like Dana Sita Hall and certain important figures and talk show hosts who had information and this one and that show you what going on with we as a nation. Joshua Samaro is not the only person to have been unalived by officers. There are many, many, many more other officers unalived their own co-workers while in the line of duty.
Yeah, but let Mr. Wayne say.
Sorry about that.
Mr. Wayne came out and said that how the police service had information that how with the Dana City Hall that they was going to murder Dana City Hall and they never take action towards it.
I had no respect for that man. I have no respect for Wayne Sturgeon. I'm gonna say this to clear the air. Since the murder of since the unalive Danny Guerra, and his name came up because he was the prominent attorney before he reached an office. He was the prominent attorney for this man. If anybody really know the homework. Since this man was unalive, this man funded his whole campaign, put dirt on the man's name, and started to say about he's this and that. Look, the issue of detention order for his son, who was recently issued a detention order when he and his father was alive, they locked back up his son again.
Yes, I heard that on the news today.
Oh God! So all they're telling me, all they're trying to silence the people and them. Come on, it is plain to see as day. As SOEs in effect, and I know the government going and try to either get extension again, or they're going and try to pass ZUSO in Parliament now to say, you know what, this is what happening to further muzzle the public. But something is going to happen.
I mean, Megatron and Chat and ZUSO to do what? They have a SOE, and look how the crime taking place under the SOE, and it's coming from their own people as well. So this is the kind of people you want to oversee, come in people's house, victimize them, unalive them, plant drugs on them. Oh no, man, no.
Listen to this, sir. Back in 2011, when the state of emergency was called under the Kamala regime, right? It didn't have all that crime back in 2011 under state of emergency. It had things happening, but not so prevalent and outright. You see, now in this state of emergency, the first time, living over 42 years, I see a state of emergency call, and it's crime like first time.
Yeah.
So it leaves you to wonder, does the Minister of Homeland and Security have a crime plan? Does the Prime Minister, who's the chair to one of the national consultants on the crime plan agencies, do these people have an idea? They intend to recruit people from overseas to come down here and step in and further train the personnel and them in investigative decisions.
I don't know what. All right, as Chat and I was talking, okay. If they know they cannot handle the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago, well, look for help from Trump. Let Trump see if he could do something and send some of the people from overseas to come and help strategize and come up with a solution to curb the crime.
Look how much agencies the Americans and them have to solve crime. You telling me that how they cannot send some people from some of those agencies to come here to help us solve crime? Come on now, man, be real.
Let me just interject on this fast, right? Mm-hmm. United States of America have police in each 51 and a half states. They have police. They have a gang intelligence unit. They have DEA. They have FBI. They have sheriffs. They also have a task force that if you flee from one state to next state, the task force could go in any state and apprehend you. Yeah. There's a small dot in Trinidad and Tobago, but yet still people missing for all 15 and 16 years now, and you don't know if they went up, down, left, right. The United States of America has a crime scene investigative unit where those work thoroughly and properly. That is why the justice system do not play when it comes to the reduction in crime. They find you guilty, there's two things could happen. They sentence to execute you, or is life imprisonment. We need to get serious here because we still live in these judicial system and laws that we have here, still backdated and outdated. That is why now certain men could be repeated offenders.
It backdated, it outdated, and it only applies to certain people.
Princess, let me tell you something. There are men who I know personal, right? Went out there and did a crime and unalive somebody and spent 15 years. By the time the magistrate sentenced them, give them 17 years, they don't spend 15, so there's only 2 more they have to spend because they shave off the time and come out. They know that it have no execution plan in Trinidad and Tobago. They just say it for themselves. They just say the police can be brought, the magistrates can be brought, even the lawyers can be brought. So men have no problem going out there and committing crimes because they know they'll just be housed, fed, held, spend time, and when they spend time, they come back out and they're back on the same old game again. So we need to get serious, and serious fast.
Let me just shed light on 2 things. I wanna correct something Chatter said, and I will help out Megatron with something he said earlier. The refinery cannot just be reopened just like that. It may sound good on paper, but in reality, that's a horse dead on arrival, because it will take billions to restart that refinery. Billions. And you know, joke billions. Right? So that out of the question. When it comes to the gas, remember, the former administration could not secure the OFAC license for that Dragon gas deal because at that time Donald Trump and the former prime minister wasn't seeing eye to eye. And then we have this administration that was trying to get the OFAC license, but no, you can't get it. That is the where's that again? Office of Foreign Assets Control. Yeah, OFAC. Office of Foreign Assets Control. That is not easy to obtain, and Donald Trump can't even approve that, you know. So we do have those things in our possession. So that and all will not happen because the Venezuelan interim president will not do any business with the Prime Minister of Trinidad. So that is one thing. So let me correct you on something. The United States of America government cannot interfere with the judicial process of a sovereign nation when it comes to crime, because we have our own laws, we have national security, and different arms of attaché. You have the police, you have the military, the Coast Guard, etc. So the US cannot, and I say again, cannot, under any circumstances, intervene in a sovereign nation's judicial process. You understand? That is how that works.
Good night, Warrior Pundit. One little thing I wanted to say.
Yes,
If we have politicians in this country who could be genuine, honest, right, honest-minded about what they do, we wouldn't have all this problem. Politicians who show love and kindness towards people, even though yes, you're driving a Prado, yes, you have a big-time vehicle, does that say anything? No. If you cut the politician, it's the same blood. If you cut the man on the street, it's the same blood. So I don't see what is all the hate and row about. If Kamala goes to another country and take a blood test, it's the same blood they will take off from her to take off from a person on the street. That makes sense. You're all fighting each other. We are all our brother's keeper. Simple.
And you know what else always bother me? Every time people raise issues, instead of the government look to deal with the issues or at least try to fix it or get help to address the situation, they're throwing it on the PNM. The PNM not in power. We get rid of the PNM. We give all a chance. Look, Philip. Philip said he could fix it. Look at what Philip doing. Instead of Philip turn around now and look to do what he's supposed to be doing, he out here on social media, give people houses, put things in place, have people homeless. It have people working as bad as it is, and could afford these houses, instead they look to put things in place, or they're looking to secure a $3.4 million deal to build fresh houses, to fix all your business. And you know how, once them contracts are given out, you know where that take place there. They would be swimming, back flipping, high diving, scuba diving in paper, while people suffering. You understand? And today now, you want to come out now and blast the PNM. Look, I see the situation that take place with you. You know, he says the PNM do that. So if the PNM now will breed the smallie and make a beautiful, handsome, bouncing Syrian baby boy. You understand? The PNM will breed she. I tell you, these people and them not serious. And the way how this man coming out and embarrassing the people. And Kamala and telling this man nothing at all. Philip Edwards Alexander is a junior minister, in fact, under the UNC. He represents the UNC, so you're making the UNC look bad. And tonight I want to ask you a question. What secret Philip Edwards Alexander is holding on the UNC that they cannot tell him, stop what he's doing and shut up?
Warrior Princess, you ever heard it saying, if one go down, all go down? You know that, right? So whatsoever secret they have, if one person talk, everybody will go down. So he really can't say nothing, and she really can't say nothing.
No, you have to remember,
it's like
Alexander beg for that job.
I have your back and you have my back. Anything you say.
Yeah, but he keep putting him out where his foot is. He keep putting his foot in his mouth and making mischief.
Another thing, Miss Sharon.
Warrior Princess. We do not have the love of Sharon.
Philip calling people calling Jason as Spranger, right?
Warrior Princess.
Philip is the biggest Spranger. Philip said he was
in a way.
Hold on, Mr. Hayden. Hold on, Hayden. Go ahead, chatter.
I say Philip saying that how he calling Jason homeless and Jason begging for this and begging for that, right? Philip is the biggest Spranger in the UNC. Because Philip said he will sell himself to become a minister. Right? He said he will do anything to become a minister.
Remember, he said he's a political prostitute, you know?
Right. You understand?
So what that Princess, I can do something and I'll come back.
All right. I find with all that is taking place, and to have Philip now coming with this kind of disgraceful behavior on social media, oh God, I had enough of that. You understand?
You're talking about black people. You're talking about black people, but you want to make a nice son with a black woman.
Yeah.
You understand? You're so against black people, but you take with the girl from your son and make a child.
Whoa.
You understand?
So we take
So why you don't talk about that? Why you don't talk about that? You understand? Why?
Princess,
yes.
I want to ask you, I don't want to believe you're surprised of how Mr. Alexander does carry on, because he showed his true colors in 2021 in the heights of the lockdown.
No, I'm not surprised, Mr. Paul. Not you, Glenroy, Mr. Paul. I am not surprised of Philip Edwards Alexander's behavior, because from the time the election, the UNC got into power, he started to show his colors early o'clock, right? He started to show himself. But when Chatters talk about we take away the young lady from his son, I would have heard it, right? I would have heard the talk before, but when I heard Chatters say, well, 1 people, 2 persons, 3 persons can lie, right? But at the end of the day, if it is that let me say you as a junior minister, you wasn't a junior minister back then. You was a normal person. You was going through a little hardship. But now you're in a position where you could take care of your picnic them. He talking about he buy phone for Jason, I do this for Jason, I do that for Jason. You didn't have to buy a phone for Jason. You didn't have to do nothing for Jason. You could have gone and buy milk and pampers, because the reason why the woman putting you in court is because you're not helping your child. And that is your generation. That come out from within you. So if you don't care about your own generation, well, then you definitely care about the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and you're showing it because you're attacking the 1%. You're talking about a piggy small and all kind of foolishness and ranting and raving. And up to now, Kamala ain't telling this man one word, but let him go ahead. I tell you, listen to me, this is the end of the UNC. They're saying, oh, this is the death of the PNM. Watch and you go see something. People are going to forget this, you know. People talking about, oh, people are foul mind, and at the end of the 4 years, watch and you go see. The people of today is not like the people back then, you know. It's a different era, you know. People going through it, you know. People under, I ain't going to say, watch now. People under strain, you know. People under pressure, and especially them youths, you know. It's hard, you know.
People are under the gun right now. People under the gun. And you know that to wake up, princess, and hear your children telling you that how they're hungry and they have nothing to eat. You know that could push our parent. You know that could push our parent to do. You understand?
Especially
and you elect a government who said they care, and when UNC win, everybody win. You elect a government who said that how they create 55,000 jobs. Instead of that, they take away 64,000 jobs away from the people. Instead of creating, they take away. Look, Crystal Water closed down today.
Yeah.
You understand?
Fully charged.
Crystal Water end up closing down today. And look how much companies following behind that. Look how much bars closing down because why? They raise the cost of alcohol.
Right. Pause right there for me, Mr. Chatter. Pause right there, Mr. Chatter. Now, you just mentioned the closing down of some businesses. I think those are medium, some of them large. But there is something behind the closing down of those. It's not just the cost, the raising of the cost. That is just minor. That is minuscule to what the real problem is. Every time an economic crunch is on the horizon, you will find businesses starting to trim down on the amount of occupancy they have, or employees is the right word to use. They always scale down, right? You see it before. You see two things. You see a rise in inflation, escalation in inflation, and retrenchment. It starts small and then it starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, you will have more retrenchment on top of what already done happen already with the unemployed. So that is more hunger. That is more Hunger Games Day. I hope when the people reach the point of breaking point, that they will say, right, enough is enough, and do what they need to do. I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about looting nobody's place, but send a resounding message to those who are in control of the country and not taking care of the people's business.
Exactly.
The people saying the PNM dead, right? The UNC saying the PNM dead, right? For the election in the morning. For the election in the morning.
And you know the thing is, Shatter, why they delaying the local election? She could have called it this year.
Call the local election in the morning. Call it in the morning and see the results. What will happen? Kamala doesn't know already. If Kamala call it...
Hold on. After Chatter, you're going to make your contribution, love. Go ahead, Chatter.
If Kamala call a general election in the morning, she's out of government and they will never see the like of power again.
All right. Mr. Hayden, hold on. Let Paul give his contribution because we are winding down. It's 9:30. Paul, give your contribution quick, and then we'll end it with Mr. Hayden.
Yeah, they're studying to bring in vehicle and all kind of thing. Or people have no work, people have no money, but they bring in 51 police vehicles to do what?
to mash up again and the state has to pay for it too much because they have wrong section on the Valencia like this place eco place. You understand?
It's a fire. They now send no tree.
I'm getting an echo. I don't know where it's coming from. Right. Okay, Mr. Hayden, let me hear your contribution. After that, we will be closing off.
This Prince Warrior Princess, remember you told us, you said at a time that we need the police to wear body cams and they didn't want to wear the body cams. Now, in our other country, it is mandatory to wear these things. It is beneficial for the police, it is beneficial for the person who they're interacting with or to. Because
exactly.
if something, okay, let me give a little example. Police running down a criminal fire shots at the police. Police shoot back. He got shot, the criminal got shot. Criminal will look to say, well, I wasn't shooting at the police. He has evidence to show that the criminal was shooting at him. That's why you need that's what the body cam is there for.
Yeah, because they keep saying it is costly to bring in these body cam, but are they finding money to do other things? Are they finding money to do other things? So what is more important?
If they bring anybody.
Hold on, remember your last word. All right, so you want to find money to do all other things, right? Why not put the safety of the citizens first? Because you're seeing the ones who are supposed to uphold the law are the ones partaking in breaking the law, right? Take, for instance, Justin Samaru's situation. Thank God for the people and them camera around the house. And when they see the video get leaked out now, they go on to everybody's house and they confiscate their cameras. You understand me? And then they start threatening the people. You can't share the video because you can get charged. What really going on? Buy the body cams, put it on the officers. If you, as an officer, you don't want to wear it, well, then the police service is not for you. What's so hard in that? Why are they not trying to implement these things? And I really do hope when the PNM do get back in power, they put in some laws where these officers is concerned, because these officers and them are too lawless. Look how bad it gets. All they unaliving officers, their own people in the station, guns going missing, drugs going missing, people losing their life under the hands of the same TTPS who is there to protect and serve us. Come on, what's going on? It's like the cart in front of the horse and we're going wrong in circles. And in this instant, it's every man for themselves. While the country going down and down and down and down, and we're crying out to the same government, the same prime minister who says she loves us and she will not tax our country into prosperity, right? But yet still they're raising all these taxes so high. You understand? It's like a man standing in a bucket where we're standing up in the bucket and we're trying to lift ourselves up and we can't lift ourselves up because there is no jobs, there is no employment. Just now people going to be homeless on the streets. Just now, what really going on? And these people trying to make it look like everything is okay. Everything is hunky-dory. And that is not truth. It is not truth. Come on. People suffering. People unaliving themselves. You see, the thing is, it's not happening to them. So they're hoping that this whole situation will just dissolve and go away, no?
Look how long I...
They are hoping that this whole situation goes away, no?
But Miss Warrior Princess, look how long I'm home. I'm home almost a year and something. I'm home almost a year and something. And it's only because of God I'm alive. I'm still around. I'm still doing what I have to do. Because I don't know what happened to me.
But I tell you what, it is hard on it's hard on the working class.
People
it is hard on the working
lost
class.
their job. People still home. What?
It is hard on the working class people, and it's even way harder on the people who lost their jobs. And I want to end here because I don't want to take up too much of the program.
One thing I had to say.
Go ahead, Chatter.
Kamala Prasad, BSS and her ministers don't have to worry about hunger. They don't have to worry about crime. They don't have to worry about what the poor people are going to do. Because when Kamala and them wake up, the servants and them saying, here it is, not where it is. You understand? Anything they want, their friend, their family, anything they want to eat, their servants will make it for them. They don't have to pay for gas. The police and them is escorting them and their family anywhere they go. So they don't have to worry about crime. You understand? The children, if they get sick, they go abroad for treatment. They ain't taking the treatment in Trinidad and Tobago. They will leave the country and go abroad to get treatment. You understand? And we, the taxpayers, are paying for all of that. You understand? So Kamala and them are wicked people.
They live in light and weighing heavy. And we are the ones supposed to... Mr. Paul, go ahead. After you, I'm going to close off, eh? Go ahead.
All you have to do, anytime you find anybody guilty, anything that do the police, minister, anybody who guilty, you just either hang them or you bring back execution.
Well, boy, I don't know, but all I urging the public to do, or they can find out when is Mr. What's the guy name? What's his name? The name always slipping me.
Which one you from? Which one? Where you from?
Somebody come and say today's an excellent 1 year PNM out of government. You really find today's an excellent 1 day?
Listen to me. I don't take on these people again, you know. Right? I don't take on Mr. Eversley. Or they can go up on my page and find out and see the flyer, but it's on the 8th of this month. Right? I think it's a Friday. Right, guys, and I want to say thanks to everybody who came up on the panel. Mr. Paul, Mr. Michael, Mr. Glenroy, Mr. Hayden, Chatter, Megatron, everybody that was here on the panel with me. I am very grateful for you all being a part of my program. And to everybody in the...
Trinity, good night. Good night, Trinity. For editor Trinity, good night.
Well, I didn't see Trinity. Yeah, Trinity was here. Pleasant good night to Trinity, Mags, everybody on the comment section, and pleasant good night to everybody on the YouTube section. And I ain't got a chance to read the comments tonight, but pleasant good night and thank you for being a part of this.
Let's go in Mount today.
Just now. And a pleasant good night to Mr. Workers' Rights on the YouTube channel. Know what went on, Paul?
I think them nurses and then come out again and some down in Mount I think, you know. So they are again.
Well, you see the government already taking on the nurses, eh? So that alone shows clearly that what did that 10% they promised us, we ain't gonna get that anytime soon. And it's like this is what they just don't care. So I really don't know what to say again, what to do again, but to God be the glory, and we are to pray for one another, and we pray for Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah,
right? So have a pleasant good night, everybody. And
have a good night.
See you guys tomorrow, please, Paul.